Neshaminy High School, true to the end, echoes forever, spirits ascend, honest endeavor, virtue and strife, memories bring us the best years of our lives. Hail alma mater, hail red and blue, fellow playwrights, we salute you. Fond recollections, vivid and true, Neshaminy High School, we're loyal to you.
They have a concert tonight that starts at 7 o'clock, so if you're available, you can stay and see their concert. Besides our recipients tonight, we have several other honored guests this evening, and I'd like to introduce two of them to you, and both are alumni of Neshaminy. And first, we're going to hear from Dr. Rob McGee, who is the superintendent of the Neshaminy School District and a graduate of Maple Point, class of 1983.
Thank you, Mrs. Weber. Good evening. As Mrs. Weber said, I'm Rob McGee, superintendent, and I've been here since 1970. That was when I entered kindergarten at Pearl S. Buck Elementary School. I also did a little stay at Eisenhower Elementary School, then Neshaminy Middle. There's a common theme here. Those schools aren't going to be with us very long, some of them aren't even there. And then I graduated from Neshaminy Maple Point High School in 1983. Other than Mr. Heenan, any Maple Pointers in the room? Okay. For a little while, but yeah, you don't count. So other than a brief stop at Shippensburg University, I was fortunate enough to come back to Neshaminy in 1987 as a math teacher at Carl Sandburg, and I've been here for the past 36 years. Neshaminy is a very special school district, as it has endured over time, not just decades, but a century. If you're fortunate enough to travel and wear Neshaminy swag, when you go out, that's what your kids call Neshaminy attire, swag. It's bound to, wherever you are in this nation, somebody will stop you with a connection to Neshaminy. So what we do here seems to have gone beyond our small community and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And Neshaminy has withstood this test of time for, in my opinion, some simple core philosophies that's in our institutional DNA. First, in my opinion, we provide students more opportunities after graduation than their parents have. And I think that's been a staple of Neshaminy over many, many decades. Come here, work hard, and your children will have a better opportunity than you did after high school. And secondly, what is a long-standing philosophy that I think was finally codified in our mission statement about a decade ago. And that mission statement focuses on empowering students to become lifelong learners and productive citizens. Notice there's no reading, math, and arithmetic in that mission statement. It's there, we teach it, and we're good at it, but we focus on what's really important, being a lifelong learner and a productive citizen. Because if you can accomplish that, you can relearn or accomplish anything. So in June, we will graduate the 128th class of Neshaminy. That dates back pre-turn of the century, not the 1999 to 2000 century, the one prior to that. And at that time, at the turn of the century, we had 6 different school districts in the area. And in 1951, those 6 districts, the biggest one, Langhorne Middletown, which is about where we're standing, Lower South, Hampton School District, Langhorne Manor, Langhorne Borough, Pendle, and Unionville decided in 1951 to join together, and that is how how we have what we know now as the Neshaminy School. How many graduates have we had since that time? Well, fortunate enough, when they took down Neshaminy High School, we saved some things. This is the graduating class of, I can't read it. 1938 from Langhorne Middletown High School. Graduating class. I counted them. There's 46 students in there. 46. Some years later, when we had 2 high schools, this is the graduating class of what we called Neshaminy Langhorne High School in 1979, in the 800, 900 range. Prior to having 2 high schools, in the late 60s and early 70s, there were upward of 11,000 graduates coming out of Neshaminy High School. So how many alumni do we have? So my conservative estimate picks 600 a year. For 100 years, that's 60,000, for those of you that struggle with moving the decimal point. And overflows Citizens Bank Park. It fills Lincoln Financial Field. That's how many graduates we have out there. So how do we begin honoring alumni achievement? The answer is simple. We just start. And the Neshaminy Education Foundation has done just that with the first ceremony that we hope to continue. And those who have heard me talk before, excuse me, Representative Farrar, I'm going to use the same proverb again. A community grows great when people plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. A community grows great when people plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. So to the committee, you have created something that will outlive you in this community. So you're truly planting trees in the shade that others will appreciate long into the future. To our honorees, congratulations, and thank you for carrying the Neshaminy legacy with you wherever you went and around the nation, in many cases the globe. So welcome, and I look forward to hearing from each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. And he's right. I've been many places where my husband and I have seen Neshaminy names on sweatshirts and T-shirts that have started many a conversation, as we were not alumni of Neshaminy, but we both taught here. We also have with us this evening State Representative and State Senator-elect Frank Ferry, who is a graduate of the class of 1990.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you today. Congratulations to the honorees. You're the first class being inducted, so that's always something very special. Usually I'm on the stage or in other parts of the school district honoring our students, so it's great to have the opportunity to honor some of our alumni. Whether it's honoring our students through their academics, the arts, athletics. Neshaminy does a fantastic job of recognizing our future generations here. For those that don't know, the high school just started a Student of the Month program. So we've already had 2 Friday mornings at the beginning of the month. We've had October and November where we honored the future of our community in this country. So I do want to recognize Neshaminy's efforts. And one ceremony that they do here that is always special to me is the military commitment send-off. We hear it as a huge sports fan myself. We hear about the athletic signings, right? So the National Signing Day for all the different sports. But Neshaminy started many years ago. Do you have to know, Dr. McGee, since you have all the history lessons there?
2012.
Okay, so
the Marines decided to take Mr. Macalinsis and I to Paris Island.
Okay.
That's what it was all about. So you better pay more attention to the Marines when you came back.
Yeah, so for 10 years, Neshaminy has been honoring the young men and women that are choosing to serve our country, which I think is also something special. And then when we get to see those students return, whether it be from their basic training or their service, and thankfully returning safely to our community is something that's extra special. So I want to commend the committee as well for recognizing the alumni that are going to be honored here tonight. We do have recognitions on behalf of the House of Representatives that recognize you for being inducted as recipients of the Neshaminy Alumni Achievement Award. I am going to put these over here. I have a now 4-year-old after this week and a 2-year-old. I have a child care situation where I have to be home by 6. So I'm going to try and stay for as long as I can during the ceremony. My wife has been very patient during a very long campaign season. So I committed to her I'd be home by 6 because she has someplace that she has to leave for. So if I am not here to personally present them to you, congratulations. And to the committee, great work. We thank you, what you and the foundation do.
Thank you very much, Representative Ferry, for including that presentation with our presentation. That's quite an honor. Thank you. In the fall of 2018, the Neshaminy Education Foundation scheduled their meeting with the alumni to create our Alumni Achievement Awards. It's kind of sad this evening because who was very instrumental in doing that was Stephen Cohen, who was an art teacher in Neshaminy, and he worked so hard to bring this event around. And last night he had kidney transplant that he has been waiting for. So it's wonderful that he has received that transplant. It's very disappointing, I'm sure, for him that he couldn't be here tonight because this was his baby. So in 2018, he was president of the foundation, and he encouraged us to go down this route and started meeting with alumni. Then in February of 2019, we started the process to nominate candidates, and that was available on our Neshaminy Education website. And our goal was to recognize the many and varied achievements of our graduates. It's our hope that this recognition of alumni will inspire our current students as they pursue their own careers and give back to the community. In February of 2020, notice the date, the board confirmed the recipients for our first Alumni Achievement Awards. And then came March, and COVID hit, and we have been waiting for this time to make these presentations. So after many attempts, we are pleased to be able to recognize our recipients this evening. And they are Eric Gartenmeyer, class of 1986, Carrie Perrin Ames, class of 1992, Ben Seachy, class of 1995, Ken Pyle, class of 1995, and Dale Earp, class of 2004. And I'd like to introduce board member and former Neshaminy Elementary teacher and guidance counselor, Pam Sporney, to present tonight's awards. Pam will be assisted by Barbara Hershowitz, and Pam is probably the one member of the board that you know the most because she has been communicating with our recipients and setting up this evening. So Pam.
Good evening, everybody. Our first recipient tonight is Eric Gartenmeyer. He's in 1986, graduate of Neshaminy High School. He spent his high school years being a volunteer fireman, and I believe does that to this day. During his early years, Eric worked for Upper Southampton Township Water and Sewer Authority. He had many jobs throughout that career, and then wanting to move up kind of in the township, he went to work for Middletown Township Department of Public Works. He began his career as a laborer and equipment operator and was later promoted to a foreman. Today he is currently the superintendent of Public Works. His jobs include overseeing 22 people in his department and such tasks as taking care of township roads, winter operation, paving, maintaining township facilities, parks, and grounds, and working on gathering bids and contracts for yearly budgets. It's quite a lot of job hats you wear there. Living with 2 active sons that play lacrosse keep him busy, and he enjoys cheering and watching them from the sidelines. Camping and traveling to new places is very exciting for him and his family to see everything this country has to offer. So tonight, the NEF presents you with our very first Alumni Award to Eric Gartenmeyer.
Thank you very much.
this is something that I didn't think would happen, kind of. We do a lot of things, just as she said. I do work for the township, for Middletown, which Neshaminy, I see superintendent in meetings also. One person here I can say that actually got me to where I'm at, kind of, is Mr. Frank Ferry. Frank actually hired me when he was at the township as the acting manager at the time. Me and Frank knew each other for many years throughout the service of the fire companies, and it was exciting. It was something new for me, and I was offered that opportunity, and I kind of took and ran with it, and I love my job today. I mean, I had 22 guys. Yes, some days are a challenge, but that's in any job. But I do enjoy what I do every day. I love going to work. I love dealing with the residents, trying to problem solve, and some days are challenging, and I do have to say, my two boys and my wife, they understand that the job, actually, I'm not home sometimes. I could be out for 2 days, 14 hours, plowing snow, doing whatever, but they never complain. They never give me any feedback, negative feedback. They know it's part of my job. So I would like to thank them also for being so understanding. I'd like to thank the board and especially Mrs. Weber. Mr. Weber, I actually had him as a teacher. So, I would like to, say hi to him. There you are. So we'll talk afterwards. But no, I mean, Neshaminy is a great place, and for the kids, I mean, you make it when you want. If you just want to come to school and do your thing and go home, that's one thing. But there's so much more to offer, and get involved is what I can say. Get involved, get in whenever it is, whenever you want to do. And just as they said before, everybody's here to help. So take advantage of it. Thank you.
Our next award recipient is Kerry Perrin Ames. Kerry is the owner and fabricator at Yachtsman's Canvas. She began sailing the waters of the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland after meeting her husband in the late 90s. Her passion for marine canvas grew out of a necessity for canvas for her own boat. It's usually the way it starts. Having never sewn before, she bought a book and a sewing machine and got right to work. After completing multiple products for her own boat, she found she really enjoyed the work. She spent the next several years refining her sewing skills and learning as much as she could about marine canvas fabrication. She began completing projects for her fellow dockmates and surrounding marinas. As she continued to work her full-time corporate job in software, her true passion began to shine through for marine canvas fabrication, and she knew that this is something she wanted to pursue full-time. She attended multiple canvas fabrication schools, receiving training from Mark Hood, and became a certified master fabrication craftsman. She also attended the North Coast Marine Training in Port Clinton, Ohio. This has allowed her to learn a variety of techniques to fabricate custom high-quality canvas projects. In 2013, she established Yachtsman's Canvas and continued to work part-time until 2015, when she realized her dream of leaving her corporate job to work full-time in marine canvas fabrication. She infuses the passion she has for the industry into every boat canvas project. She is the proud recipient of multiple industry awards. Please welcome, the NEF is very proud to honor you with an NEF Alumni Award.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you for reading that. I didn't realize that might have been read, so I'm a terrible public speaker, so I did prepare a speech, so some of this might be repetitive, so just bear with me. But thank you for having me here today. It's an honor and privilege to be here and to receive this award. Again, I apologize right off the bat. Public speaking is not necessarily my thing. This happens to be a big Neshaminy week for me, as I will also be attending, excuse me, my third-year high school reunion on Friday. Believe it or not. Thanks to my math teacher, Mrs. Brannigan, I can confidently say I'm a 1992 graduate of Neshaminy High School. Prior to attending Neshaminy High School, I attended Carl Sandburg Middle School and Albert Schweitzer Elementary School. Currently, I'm the owner and operator of Yachtsman's Canvas, a marine fabrication business. I'm sure most of you have not heard of marine fabrication, and honestly, there was a time I had no idea what it was either. So what do? I design and fabricate canvas projects such as tops, windshields, and covers for boats, as well as design and fabricate stainless steel framework for installation of the canvas. Basically anything fibered on a boat, I design and make. I work both on power and sailboats, typically ranging in size from 20 feet to 50 feet, plus primarily located on the upper Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. So how did I get from graduating from Neshaminy to owning a marine canvas fabrication business? Well, how much time do you have? It's definitely safe to say I've not taken the most traditional path to get here. After Neshaminy, I started a career in the technology field, spending about 10 to 15 years working for 2 major corporations. It was challenging and rewarding. Work, and on paper, I was doing pretty well for myself. So stick with me a little bit on this journey. In the late 90s, my husband and I began dating, and he introduced me to the world of sailing. At this point, I had very little boating experience and 0 sailing experience. We spent several years sailing Chesapeake Bay together. My husband came to me one day and said, "We need a new sail cover." My response was, "Okay, let's make a few calls and get one made." His response is, "You could do it." I'm sorry, what? You want me to make a sail cover? I'm like, "I can't make a sail cover." His response was, "Yes, you can." My response naturally was, "No, I can't." Okay, here's the thing I told him. I don't know how to sew. And I'm pretty sure if y'all saw my cross-eyed animal that I think was supposed to be a bird that I made in Sandburg Home Economics, you would probably agree, she does not know how to sew. But with that, my husband nods his head and says, "You can learn." Okay, I don't know a sewing machine. Again, with the nodding head, he says, "Well, buy one." Followed up with, I have known you long enough to know that whatever you put your mind to and decide to do, you will do. Which would have been really nice and supportive and sweet, right up to, "You too stubborn not to." Yep, so my friends and family would be quick to tell you that I have a certain level of competitiveness in me. I'm pretty sure this is a result of dodgeball classes with Mr. Boone at Schweitzer Elementary School. Not one to turn down the challenge, I bought a book, Sewing for Dummies, I bought some canvas fabric, and I bought a $100 sewing machine. If I learned anything from that process, a $100 sewing machine is definitely not suitable to sew canvas. Excuse me. These stuck together. After some reading and DIY YouTube videos, lo and behold, I made a sail cover. Soon that sail cover led to another cover, and another, and soon for some boat neighbors and friends. After a few years of doing hobby projects, I realized I was enjoying canvas work much more than I was enjoying software root cause analysis. I began spending my corporate vacations traveling to formal training, taking several marine canvas fabrication classes. Who knew they even existed? And I set myself a 5-year plan to leave my corporate job and start my canvas business full-time. That was about 7 years and 1 month ago to date. My business has opened so many doors for me and have had so many positive experiences which I never imagined. My job has brought me all over the country to places like the Carolinas, California, and Florida, and as far away as Australia to train with one of the best fabricators in the world. I've received multiple regional, national, and international awards, and I've been fortunate enough to have both my work featured on the cover of an international distributed magazine, as well as myself and my business featured in multiple magazine articles. I'm a past board member of the Chesapeake Bay Fabricators Association and currently sit on the board for the National Marine Fabricators Division of the International Advanced Textile Association. That's a lot of words. I am also chair of the Marine Fabricators National Convention Committee, which sees several hundred participants yearly. It's an awesome organization that works towards peer networking, education, and industry advancements. When looking back at K through 12 school experiences, many people can say there was a specific moment, experience, or perhaps a teacher or staff member that helped define who they are today. My experience at Neshaminy was ever-changing. I had so many experiences and teachers giving me opportunities, from participating in so many sports, track, basketball, field hockey, volleyball, to concert choir with Mr. Cluse. And believe me, there are not enough Mr. Cluses in the world to make me a singer. Moving on to Mrs. Rockefeller, who saw enough creativeness in my painting of a school locker with large cartoon feet sticking out of it to enter into the district art show. To Mr. Dangler, who more than likely knew right away from my audition of acting that it was not my forte. But he gave me a part anyway, and even a line in the school play. Point is, they all opened my eyes to trying new things, experiencing new things, and working towards finding my bullseye. If you throw enough darts, you'll eventually hit the right one. Thank you to all the teachers and staff for everything you do every day. Unfortunately, my husband cannot be here today. He is off doing what he does best, supporting his loved ones, and right now he is doing just that for a family member that needs it the most. I don't know the right words to thank him for seeing in me what I didn't necessarily see myself, for reminding me whatever I put my mind to, I can do, and not just because I'm stubborn, for loving me and supporting me through all the ups and downs of the process. Believe me, there were quite a few. Not only did I need to learn how to sew, I needed to figure out how to run a business, from accounting to legalities to purchasing and inventory. Without him, I would not be a business owner today, doing something I found I love to do. However, I was certainly questioning my life choices last week after 3 days outside on boats in 40-ish degree weather and 20-mile-an-hour winds. This has been an awesome journey for me, and there is certainly not a life script written for it. My advice to young adults today would be to go for those new experiences, and as many as you can. Try new things. You never know where they will lead you. But most of all, trust in yourself and surround yourself with people that love and support you and tell you you're too stubborn not to achieve your goals. Success is sure to follow. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce our next presenter. He's recently retired staff member from Neshaminy High School, and immediately joined our Neshaminy Education Foundation Board, and he is also a graduate of Neshaminy Maple Point, and he was the instructor, a teacher, for the next recipient, Dave Heaney.
I first met Ben when he was in 7th grade with Donna McGrann's marching band, and he was playing the alto saxophone. Luckily, he continued on to his 12th grade.
Oh, wait. Hey, Mr. Heaney.
Oh?
Hey, I think you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Can you get a little bit closer to the mic, because actually I can't hear fully through, the audio's been a little bit in and out, so I just want to make sure that I can hear.
I can't be heard.
Oh, now I got you. All right.
Move the mic
That's the
up.
first time I've ever been told that. Anyhow, I first met Ben probably his 7th grade year with Donna McGrann's marching band, and he continued with it all the way up through high school. So I really got to watch Ben grow. Amazing guy, absolutely amazing. Graduated from Neshaminy in 1995 and went on to Cornell University. Got his Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, a Master's of Engineering in Computer Science at Cornell immediately following, and then went to USC and got a Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering. Pretty impressive. I was his math tutor. He received many awards from NASA, including 3 Exceptional Engineering Achievement Medals, 2 Software of the Year Awards, 2 Mariner Awards, and 5 Group Achievement Awards. It's pretty amazing. Doc, you talked about taking Neshaminy around the globe. Ben's taken a little bit further. He's 51 million, give or take, Ben? 51 million miles away?
About that.
Okay. And he'll tell you more about it. Ben is continuing to inspire people when he doesn't even realize it. Funny, I got a text yesterday from my cousin Sue Heaney. I don't know if you remember her, Ben. She sent me, she shared a picture, and she said, this popped up on my thing today. Is this Ben Sitchie of Neshaminy Band? I was like, yeah. It was a motivational quote from him. It said, got a 2.4 GPA my first semester in college. Thought maybe I wasn't cut out for engineering. Today I've landed 2 spacecraft on Mars and designing 1 for the moon. STEM is hard for everyone. Grades aren't ultimately what matter. Curiosity and persistence matter. Great guy. He'll tell you more about what he does because I can't. And Ben, I understand you're going to be coming to the high school next month to speak with the students?
Sorry, can you repeat it? Just move to your right a little bit. I think the mic is actually a little bit better over to your right. I just heard what you said after you read the tweet. There you go, yeah.
Hi, you're coming to the high school next month in order
It doesn't seem to
to...
be coming through. Sorry, can you try pointing the mic up? Sorry, I know we're...
Ben?
Is it that mic, Chris?
Yeah.
Lift it.
Just lift it up. Take the mic out of the thing.
No, because it's going to break.
There you go.
Anyhow, Ben, you're coming to the high school next month, right, to speak with students?
Yes, coming. It'll be
Awesome.
easier in person.
Yes, and so I will keep the award safe for you and give it to you when you're here. Take it away, Ben.
Thank you. Great. Hey, thank you, Mr. Heaney. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Steve, who's not here. But thank you, Mr. Heaney. Thank you, Ms. Cahill. Thank you for everybody in inviting me and including me in this event. And really sorry I couldn't be there in person. I think, as Mr. Heaney knows now, I live on the West Coast, and with the environment that we live in, it's often hard to travel, and so I have to attend remotely, but I hope to be there in person next month to be able to share some of my experiences, hopefully with the students. And just, thank you to everyone for patience and scheduling and working through, the pandemic to create this event and really to create this opportunity to be able to, not just recognize alumni, but also to recognize to the students and to inspire our students to what they can achieve and let them know what they can achieve as they move on and carry on their lifelong learning from Neshaminy. It's pretty, as I think we all feel that it's pretty crazy and a hectic time, coming out of this pandemic, and I think this is a really good opportunity to just slow down and be able to reflect for a moment about how we got here and my journey. And this event really let me do that and sort of think back all the way back. I was born in Philadelphia, spent my entire childhood in the same house at 301 West Prospect Ave in the Manor, in Langhorne Manor. I attended Oliver Heckman Elementary School. I went to Neshaminy Junior for middle school and went into Neshaminy High School. And so I'm a student of Neshaminy. I am a product of Neshaminy. Neshaminy created me, guided me, molded me into what I am today. And I was really lucky, as I think every Neshaminy graduate is, to really be inspired and guided along the way by very many teachers, and not just teachers, but staff and the whole community, because I really think Neshaminy is a community. I was a band kid. I spent most of my Neshaminy career, all the way from when I picked up a cello in 3rd grade to a saxophone in 4th grade, going through the instrumental music program, and as Mr. Heaney mentioned, through Ms. McGrann's music program in junior high school, Mr. Lipton's music program in high school, and all the way through that final performance in the concert band as a senior. So I'm very much a product of Neshaminy High School and of that instrumental music program. I haven't lived in Langhorne since I graduated high school. My journey sent me to upstate New York, where I attended Cornell University, received a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science, and went on from there to my career. But Philadelphia, Langhorne, Bucks County, Neshaminy will always be my home, and that's always what I consider to be my home and where I came from. So what have I been doing since I left Neshaminy? I think just been incredibly lucky. That's really the way to phrase it. I've had some really amazing opportunities. First, being able to go to Cornell. Neshaminy really prepared me well for my experience at Cornell, and as Mr. Heaney and I'll get into it later, I mentioned it wasn't always a smooth road, but that's part of what makes us who we are. So I left Cornell, and really what I've been doing, what I've dedicated my career to, and what I've dedicated my life to is really the exploration of space and being able to carry on our curiosity and carry on answering some of the biggest questions that we have about ourselves by exploring our solar system and exploring our universe. That really led me from upstate New York to ultimately Los Angeles, where I joined the Jet Propulsion Lab, which is a NASA research center that's in Pasadena, California. I spent almost 15 years at JPL and then later the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. And through that time, I got the real privilege of working on 4 different Mars missions. Mr. Heaney mentioned a couple of the awards that I received during that time, but it wasn't really about the awards. It was about just being able to be part of such a journey of exploration. I had the privilege of leading the team that coded and developed the brain for one of our Mars rovers, our intrepid explorers on another planet, teaching that robot how to first land on Mars and then to explore another planet. So all of my team and through my team's leadership, we were able to answer some of our big questions about whether Mars once maybe itself had life, whether Mars had water, and our rover is still off and exploring Mars right now. I got to be in 2 different control rooms, a dream I had of a kid ever since watching, Gene Kranz in the Apollo days, and then the landing of Pathfinder Mars Pathfinder while I was in college. I got to actually be one of the engineers and scientists sitting in a control room, cheering and honestly crying about what we can all do together if we just decide that we want to accomplish some amazing feat. And so I got to be part of that experience in that room, and then carried on to working what we call Mars time. I really lived with our rovers virtually, much like I present to you virtually now, where the rovers, while they slept at night on Mars, we would hear what they discovered during the day and decide where to go next on the next day. And so every night while the rovers slept, I would wake up my team on Earth and decide what to explore next with our robotic explorers. So that was an amazing privilege, and it's that journey of exploration that I think really brings me to the main goal I've had in my whole career, which is really sharing that excitement of exploration with the world and with the next generation. And I love talking to students. I love talking to the community and being able to say, we have everything that's going on in this world. There's a lot of important problems that we need to solve, but we need to keep our head up and look to the stars and look to the sky. And so my career has really enabled me to do that. After I finished working on the Mars program, I went and worked on the James Webb Space Telescope, which has just had some amazing successes, answering some of the biggest questions about where we came from, what happened around the time of the Big Bang, how did the whole universe start. And then since then, what caused me to move back west is I joined a company called Blue Origin, where we now are going to answer what comes next. Where do we go as humans next, and how do we extend humanity out into the solar system? And so, as part of that, I lead up engineering on our lunar program and designing. My team and I are designing the next lunar explorer for our kids to explore the moon and to extend that as a base out to the rest of the solar system. So that's what I've been up to, but I think for all of that, probably what I'm most well known for right now is 273 characters that Mr. Heaney read earlier. It's amazing how one tweet can go from I really understand what a viral social media phenomenon means now. In fact, I wrote that tweet almost 3 years ago, and it seems that every year around the time of finals, which is right now, it picks up again and gets sent around again. In fact, just this past Friday, my sister-in-law and some of my other friends and family were writing me saying, hey, did you know that your tweet got picked up by Upworthy on Instagram and got sent out to 4 million people and has received over 500,000 likes this past weekend? And it's just this amazing thing where it's like, there's something about this message that just seems to stick with people. You know, I think that really comes back to what I took from Neshaminy. So this tweet, this message that is, you're not defined by your GPA, you're not defined by a grade on a test, you're not defined by just this narrow definition of what success means, but that ultimately what's going to drive us, what's going to cause us to succeed, what's going to cause our students to succeed is this curiosity, this passion about what they're learning, and then the persistence to stick with it. And I think, you know, you see that from the other award recipients tonight as well, right? You see the passion that they had and the persistence that they had to stick with it. I think that comes to me from my upbringing, comes to me from Neshaminy. Neshaminy wasn't a place that was just about academics. Neshaminy was a place to me about building lifelong learners, about building students who were well-rounded and understood that it wasn't just about the grade they received on a test. Now, sure, one of my pivotal moments in my whole life was, you know, walking into Mr. Liebarger's 11th grade physics class and learning about the laws that underlie the world around us. In fact, I often tell students that everything you need to know to land on Mars, you can learn in your high school physics class, which really comes down just to basic equations of motion. But that's a spark of curiosity and passion. He got me excited. It's not so much that that class taught me everything I needed to know to pass my college classes. It's that it got me excited and curious about the world that's around. And that curiosity, I think, is instilled in a lot of the Neshaminy students. But it's not just physics. It's Miss K. Smith taught me about, in 4th grade, taught me about kindness and compassion. And Mr. Lipton, and Mr. Heaney, and Miss McGran. Through instrumental music, I learned about the importance of being part of a team, and then particularly about perseverance and persistence. Nothing tells you how to succeed in life, like practicing for the 100th time a marching band drill, because you understand the importance of what it takes to get it right, and to get it right working as a team. And so that to me comes from Neshaminy, and those are some of the experiences I think that Neshaminy gives their students and that I've taken throughout my lifelong career, which is to think about us as a whole. Think about what it takes to succeed, not just as a number, as a statistic. It's not your grade point average. It's not your salary that you make. It's about what's your contribution, what's your passion, and are you persistent enough and perseverance? Do you have the perseverance to stick with it? And all of that came to me from Neshaminy. So with that, I just say thank you, and really a real privilege and a real honor to be honored this way.
Thank you, Ben. It's nice to finally see
And I don't think you're going to be able to
face.
hand that to me through the screen, so when I'm there, next time I see you.
Well, while Ben is exploring the blue great beyond, Ken Pyle, our next award recipient, handles something that we really can't put our hands on either, and that is he is a Chief Information Security Officer of DFDR Consulting, which means he has specialized in information security, computer forensics, enterprise virtualization, and network engineering. Ken has an extensive background in network remediation, compliance, and secure design. Ken is a regular lecturer and presenter on information security and has presented for several accounting associations and professional organizations. He is also a subject matter expert for information security, appearing in industry publications such as Accounting Today and the New Jersey Law Journal. He was recognized as a 40 under 40 by South Jersey Business People in 2015. He holds numerous security and technology certifications. The NEF would like to award our next recipient, Ken Pyle, for Alumni Award certification.
Thank you, everybody. It's a really weird honor to get, so you can hear me a little better. Somebody asked me to put together something that said, how did I get here? And explain what I did for a living. And the best thing I could come up with was, I'm Indiana Jones with a keyboard. I'm a hacker. I hack things for a living. I happen to be a pretty good one. If you've heard, my kids are going to laugh when they see this because they joke around about how I mentioned it a lot since the last couple of months or so. If you heard the emergency alert system got hacked way back in August, it was a big international storyline. That was me. I learned that stuff here. It's kind of cool. I learned here more than anything was the power, everybody keeps going back to the power of persistence and willpower. And I always tell people, like, that's my superpower. Everybody in the world looks at something and says, you can't do that. And I'm like, hold my beer. Like, I can do that. It's easy. And it really is. And like, I had to fight for everything I have in my life. Everything in my life, none of it ever came easy. Ever. It's funny, I was putting this together and I had one of the people I work with go into my office because I had to take a picture of something. The only thing I keep in my office, the only memories I really keep with myself, are an article I wrote for the school newspaper here in 1994 about how the internet worked. And it was weird because it was like the first person, people were like, what are the internet? They'd write this big explanation, put a nice thing in front of it. Another was a wrestling match I won in 1995 for the school. Like, we had a very successful wrestling team. It was like the first real big team thing I had in my life, and it really turned things for me. And I kept, it's funny, I give it as a gift to people. I had a copy of a book called Out of the Inner Circle. It was a book about computer hacking I took out in Neshaminy Junior High in 7th grade and accidentally never returned. I have it in my office, I keep it with me to this day. I give it to friends in the industry as like a gift of like, I always say, it's the dark magic tome nobody gave you. I learned everything I ever needed in 7th grade from like an awesome library book. I always tell people do the right thing. There's a lot of times in my life, especially with what I do for a living, I've had the chance to, as I tell people, go for fortune and glory and all the other things. And one of the really important things I learned was doing the right thing and doing good in the world. I came from a bad home, not going to lie. I shouldn't be here, and I will be flat out about this. I was a terrible student. Ben has a tweet about a 2.4 GPA. You can look this up. I graduated in Neshaminy with a 1.97 GPA. True story. And I failed the only computer class I ever took. In 10th grade, Miss Fricky's Computer Math Pascal, I got an A on the final. She still failed me. I'm still angry about it. To this day, it still drives me. Like I said, I came from a bad home. I wasn't supposed to make it. Anybody who knew me back then would have told you they're giving that dude an award, like, for what? Like, some awful thing? Like, no. I came from a bad place, and I got really lucky. I got to travel the world, and I get to travel the world, as I tell people, on free vacations, talking at the biggest cybersecurity conferences on earth and telling people about cool stuff I hacked that I was the first person to find. I'm living my dreams. I tell people, like, I'm a college professor as well as owning my firm and doing all the wonderful things I have. I'm like, that's my dream. If you ask me, pick out all these crazy things that you could write down one day and become, it's weird because it really happened for me. And I didn't start with anything. I've got amazing friends and family, and they're the people that help me break out and like make that happen for myself. And I tell people, like, I had to go find that. I never started with any of it. Like, my best friend in the entire world, Jim Manager, I've been lucky enough to be that guy for like my entire life, and he kept me like going, and he kept me like straight on the narrow, and like just a lot of hope. My other best friends, Kevin Vile and Eric Purcell, they wrestled on the wrestling team with me. I have some amazing wife. I have an amazing wife and kids who like supported me my entire life. My coaches, Ed Curran and Rick Ireland, if they were here, I would tell them I still have mat burn in my face because of all the times they mashed my head in the mat. And which, I laugh about it, it was like really, it taught me a lot. I had a lot of good structure here because I didn't have a lot of good structure elsewhere. I talked to other people about the education they received, and even though I wasn't a fantastic student grade-wise, I got an amazing education. I got an amazing insight into the world, and it helped me, and it drove me. And I tell people, like, I was, in some ways, hell on wheels when I came through here. And I said I wanted to make the system change, and I wanted the system to change me, and it happened. It's really what I turned my life into, was rejecting what was going to happen to me I should have been swallowed up, and I didn't. I made it. And I give people advice, like, find really good friends. You're only going to get to find a few of them. I was lucky enough, George and Jane Vile, who were, there were a lot of people, you know, they were like second parents to me, and I thank him for like helping save my life. And I always tell people, like, the three teachers I really got. One, Mr. Cohen, was my art teacher in Schweitzer, and that guy was awesome. I was really young when I had him, and he really was like a super cool dude. And I remember it's like a huge impression. My physics teacher, Mr. Dorland, who took a real chance on me and really kind of like fostered me, and Mrs. Fonts, who was my English teacher in 11th and 12th grade. She was amazing. She literally took me aside one day. I was a real behavior problem, and she took me aside and said, Kenny, I know you're a really, really smart kid. She's like, you're going to get out of this. When you get to college, you get out there, she's like, you're going to excel. It's just these times are tough, and you got to just work towards it. She used to feed me books and information and like really work me. It made a huge difference in my life. And it's funny, because I tell people, like, it's hard work making this look really easy. Like, people see what I do, I get to go, like, go over the world, tell people, like, oh, I hacked this thing, I got into this, or whatever, and it's really hard work, and it's something you gotta learn, and you gotta go get. Like, for me, my dream was, this year I spoke at what's known as the RSA conference, which is like the top security conference on earth, and they created modern cryptographic algorithms. And it's funny is, I got to go to that conference of the people who made this cryptographic algorithm and show the entire world that I figured it out in 3 minutes, and this flaw that lived for literally since I was in high school, in this thing that underpins the internet. I got to go, hey, I found that. It's 30 years old, and by the way, I found it in 20 seconds because nobody worked as hard as I did to go find it. It's really like going a little bit beyond. And that's what I took out of a lot of this, and it's one of those things I'm really proud of, is like, Neshaminy definitely gave me an amazing education. It made me want to be, like I call myself, a polymath. Like, I want to go out and try everything, do everything, learn everything, and pack it all in. I always tell people, like, time is the most important thing I know of. But it's never too late to make up time. Like, I didn't really start making huge strides in my industry until I was in my 30s. Like, when my business didn't really exist yet, people thought I was crazy. And I went against the grain, and I managed to make it. And it's funny, is everybody keeps talking about persistence, and there's this one quote, I made sure to pick it out for this because it really embodies a lot, I think, of what we all feel, especially some of the reward recipients. It's a quote by one of my favorite musicians. I don't say I have heroes, but it's people I look up to. And it's Joe Strummer of The Clash. He wrote this amazing, he was quoting somebody else, and he kind of added on a little bit. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. There is nothing more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And that really struck a chord with me. Like, that's how I feel. I'm one of those people, like, I'm just going to go do it, and in William aut faciam, which is a quote that Hannibal Barca said when they told him he couldn't take elephants across the Alps and invade Italy. He said, it means I'm going to find a way, or I'm going to make one. And that's the cool thing. That's what makes me get out of bed in the morning is, I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to persist. I'm going to move on. I'm going to succeed. And that's something I can honestly say is one of those things that this school, this area, this time in my life really imbued in me. Like, I tell people, like, I'm really Philly. I'm really blue collar. I'm really Neshaminy. Like, that's what I learned. Like, just pick up, go to work, persist, move on. It'll happen for you someday. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this award. This is an amazing moment for me.
Thank you. We have one last award recipient tonight, and do we have a representative for Mr. Earp on a Zoom call?
I don't have him now.
Okay. Mr. Earp was not able to attend this evening. He was planning on it a year, 2 years ago when this all started, but he unfortunately was in the path of Hurricane Ian, and both his home and his business were affected. Dale Earp is a proud native of Bucks County. He calls his empire that he built from the ground up. Started as an independent agent, going door to door and working tirelessly to help people. After a year or so, he had a small group of people that he trained right at his dining room table. Soon they had a small office that turned into a bigger office, and they had doubled their growth within a year. Now he is the national marketing organization that supports thousands of agents and agencies. Dale created ERP Enterprises to be a respected leader in the insurance industry. His vision was to build a company of unique values, culture, and reputation for going above and beyond to make people happy. Not only has he developed direct relationships with state and national directors for numerous insurance carriers, he has also won awards and recognition for these accomplishments. Over the years, he has also worked tirelessly to establish strategic guidelines for ERP enterprises so that each and every agent that is hired is personally mentored by Dale. We are honored tonight. I am sorry that he was going to send a representative from his office to try to get them to Zoom in, but since that is not available, then we are very proud to give Dale Earp an Alumni Achievement Award. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Pam. Evening, I'd like to thank all our board members for their efforts to make this night possible. Steve Cohen, who's not with us, Chris Stanley, is back there on our Zoom, Pam, Janet Gushik, Julie Matsky, Susie Drake, Jan King, Marian Mordino, Dave Heaney, Mark Gata, Denise Ianni, and our school board representative, Adam Kovitz. We also like to thank our recipients and their families for your attendance, for your patience with all the delays we had in holding this event. We'd like to announce that we will be, in the near future, soliciting nominations for our 2023-24 awards, and they will be found on our website. And we invite all of you who are here to tour the building if you would like, and to come to the art gallery, which is go out the doors and to the right, and at the end of the hall, there is an art gallery where we have refreshments. And we thank you so much for coming. And this is I love what you said, Dr. McGee, about planting a tree. And I hope that this tree does grow very large and the shade will encompass many of our future and past alumni with our achievement awards. Thank you.